Hi, back from footballboost.co.uk, and today we're comparing Nike Football's Mercurial Superfly versus the Mercurial Vapor 10. So the range is designed for explosive players, pacing wingers and strikers who need that extra touch of speed in their game, which is why you see that some of the biggest names headline the boots, including Cristiano Ronaldo, Eden Hazard, Alexis Sanchez and many more. So today we have the Savage Beauty CR7 boots by Nike, which is the latest colorway for Cristiano Ronaldo. So if you are sitting on the fence and don't know which boot to choose, you'll find out by the end of this video. So let's start off with the price. So 230 to 250 pounds is the rough price for the Mercurial Superfly, pretty much at the high end in terms of price. The Vapor 10 is around 160 to 180 pounds, which is pretty good for a pro level football boot, a much better boot in terms of price. Who wears these boots? So essentially it's pretty much an even spread between the Superfly and the Vapor. Essentially, Ronaldo, Anthony Martial, Alexis Sanchez, Aubameyang and Vidal are the headline wearers for the Superfly. And Eden Hazard, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Luka Modric, Coutinho and Isco are the headline wearers for the Vapor 10. And roughly 60% of the Mercurial wearers wear the Superfly and 40% of the Mercurial wearers wear the Vapor 10. It's a pretty even spread. The Superfly is the more popular of the two though, just by 10%. So in terms of fit, they both fit very narrow. The wide-footed players out there, I would avoid the Mercurial range completely, but you still will be able to fit this boot. I've actually put the Superfly on, and it is quite tight around the midfoot, but I still can put it on, which is a good thing. So very narrow fitting in terms of fit. Same with the Vapor 10, very narrow fitting, very similar to the Vapor 8 and Vapor 9 boots by Nike Football. In terms of sizing, now true to size is the way to go with both of these boots. Definitely true to size with the Vapor 10. You're not going to get any sort of problems with length in the Vapor 10 in terms of sizing for the Superfly. Essentially you could go true to size or half a size down. I've actually put a true to size 10 UK Superfly on, and it does fit a bit long, so you potentially go half a size down in the Mercurial Superfly. That's it in terms of sizing. So essentially the design is the same on both of these boots. As you can see, this is the Savage Beauty CR7 boots for Ronaldo himself, and as you can see the designs are pretty much the same. Of course you're going to get a slightly different print on the Vapor 10 than what you're going to get on the Superfly. And yeah, we've seen some really good designs for the Superfly and the Vapor. The Lightning Storm one, which was this pink edition, as well as the World Cup edition. This was the first ever Vapor 10. It was the World Cup edition worn by Hazard at the World Cup in 2014. So the Mercurial range does have some really explosive and out there designs. So pretty much the second major difference from the Superfly to the Vapor, bar the price, is the dynamic fit collar, which spans the ankle region. It's a mid-cut design and wraps the ankle really tightly, creating a really sock-like feel and fit, whereas the Vapor 10 has a standard traditional low-cut design. Nothing different there with the Vapor 10 over the Vapor 9. You know, it's just a really traditional feel in the Vapor 10. So yes, this is the major sort of tech specs difference between the two boots. Essentially it's a collar. In my opinion, it's too high. Ronaldo himself actually customizes his collar. He wears it about that height, just to wrap just under the ankle, not over top. But yeah, if I was to do the Superfly 5, I would definitely cut off the collar. It's not a big amazing performance enhancing feature for me, and I feel like going with the standard Vapor 10 it would be the best option for now. So in terms of upper technologies, the Superfly has a sort of cushioned Flyknit upper from heel to toe. It's a very seamless feel inside the Superfly. The Vapor 10 has a super thin and soft adhesion synthetic upper, and in hand it is much softer than the Flyknit seen on the Superfly, as you can see. But though both uppers are very, very soft, this is arguably the thinnest and softest adhesion synthetics we've ever seen on a Vapor, on the Vapor 10, and it's pretty much the softest material you're going to get on the market. But both uppers have very seamless and very soft and very flexible uppers on the boots. So in terms of tongues, there are no tongues. So as you may be aware, the Superfly has a no tongue system, as well as the Vapor 10. This is the first Mercurial Vapor to not have a tongue, and as you can see, the material used where the tongue should be is very elasticated and rubberized. It's going to lock your foot down really tightly in the midfoot. Same with the Superfly, it's going to be very seamless on top of your laces, a very seamless feel on both these boots. So in terms of Brio cables or internal cages, the Superfly has Brio cables pretty much which connect to the laces on both sides of the boot, really locking down the foot into the sole, really responsive, as the Vapor 10 does not have Brio cables whatsoever, but it has an internal cage, as you can see there, just to strengthen that super thin and soft T-Gen synthetic upper. So essentially the Brio cables are much more aggressive and responsive. It's going to lock your foot down in place really well, whereas the internal cage system is more of a support cage just for the overall structure of the T-Gen synthetic upper. So in terms of textures, on the Superfly we have Nike skin with a sort of knitted texture, which will provide a bit of grip at high speeds. It's relatively rubberized. We go back to the standard version of the Superfly. It's very rubberized in hand, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very rubberized. It's going to help with controlling touching the ball at high speeds. Go to the Vapor 10. It's a very smooth upper. This is the Savage Beauty Vapor 10, and it has that print on top of the upper. So we flip it over to the Vapor 10. It's got a very sort of rubberized texture on top. I don't know if you can see that, but there is a sort of really grippy texture on top of this Vapor 10. Again, it will help with controlling the ball and touching the ball at high speeds. So both boots have their same technologies, but this Savage Beauty edition does not have any sort of texture on top because it needs that print on top of the upper just for the design. So again, ACC is installed on both of these boots, no difference there. It's going to help with controlling the ball in wet and dry conditions, a great thing to have in any pro level football boot. So yes, ACC is in both boots. So in terms of soles, now we get to a sort of minor difference with the soles. The Superfly has carbon fiber and it's very lightweight, very thin, and it's relatively flexible straight out of the box. Head to the Vapor. It's got a nylon chassis system, no carbon fiber, but as you can see, it's very flexible out of the box as well. So essentially, they're both very flexible. I'd say the Vapor 10's nylon chassis is slightly more flexible than the Superfly's sole straight out of the box. In terms of stud configurations, yes, this is the soft ground edition, but they have the same Vapor traction patterns stud configurations. So 4 blades on the heel and the same rotational traction system on the toe box. Again, this is the soft ground edition, so it's slightly different to the standard firm ground edition, and this is another soft ground edition on the Lightning Storm boot, and this is the Vapor. So yeah, essentially the same aggressive traction system, all bladed studs. Soft grounded studs are circular and conical, do great work on muddy soft ground surfaces, but really aggressive traction system. Both have very aggressive sole plate systems. So what do we have in terms of weight? Now, Mercurial Superfly is slightly heavier than the Vapor 10, weighing roughly 190 to 200 grams depending on the size you have, which is pretty good for a boot which has a dynamic fit collar. Head over to the Vapor 10. The boot weighs roughly 180 to 190 grams. Again, another very lightweight boot. It's slightly more lightweight than the Vapor 9 boot. One of the lightest boots on the market. You've got the Puma EvoSpeed SL, which is 103 grams, and maybe something like the Velocita, which is lighter than this boot. Then you've probably got this boot, so it's arguably the third lightest boot on the market at this moment. So to sum up, both ranges are very high quality by Nike Football. The Superfly is the more expensive boot of the two by some margin, and will provide the wearer with a very unique sock-like playing experience, whereas the Vapor 10 will have the more traditional Mercurial feel and fit. The Vapor is lighter than the Superfly and features lighter and thinner synthetic materials, so both boots are very responsive, lightweight and aggressive, and are arguably the best two speed boots on the market at this stage. So overall, if I had to choose between the two boots, I'd definitely go for the Vapor 10. If the Superfly was the same price as the Vapor, I may be swayed over to the Superfly, but because of the super high price tag on the Superfly, it pushes me towards the Vapor 10. So we have reviews on both boots live on our YouTube channel, so be sure to check that out if you need. Please subscribe to us if you have not done so already, and thanks for watching, and as always, we'll see you next time.